Hello and welcome to another edition of the Gravestone Pros with North Country Memorials. Glad to have you back today. We are going to be working in the shop again. It is January and we are back going at stuff. So the shop is finally moving. So we'll show you some of that. We're discussing Stencil today. The new stencil that we've been using, we just don't like as much as we like the old product. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Come along.
Anyway, what do they think they're doing?
So we're just peeling this stone here and using the stencil that we have available now. It's just different than the 3M stencil that we used to use. It's a little bit stiffer than the old stuff used to be, and so it just doesn't quite peel the same. It's more prone to break when you're weeding. It doesn't, the letters don't just snap out quite as easy. It tends to, they tend to rip and tear rather than pulling out cleanly. Even when you got the cutter settings dialed in, it just doesn't seem to work quite the same. So it's kind of frustrating, but it's part of how it goes.
Doing a little research and talked to one of our suppliers, which is Wensco. They do a lot with the monument industry, and talked to one of their reps the other day, and they are, because there's such an issue with stencil right now, we could only buy one roll at a time when we normally buy 10, and so they said they have started developing another type of stencil, and they're working at the the specs and making sure it works well and all of that. 3M has actually stopped. Our understanding is they have stopped producing stencil. We loved it, it worked well, and so we're hoping this new stencil, which should come in to be available sometime in middle to late February, hopefully. They're saying one of the things that you're looking for is stencil that can take the heat from sandblasting. If your sandblast nozzle sits still for a little bit in one area, your stencil heats up, and they're saying this stuff is very, very durable in that way. So, I'm hoping they can do it, and there's a lot of monument guys I'm sure are hoping that they can do it, because it's just, if you can't get stencil, you can't produce stones. Can't produce stones, you just can't stay in business. It's what you have to have in order to do it. So, but yeah, I'm having trouble weeding, and I'm thinking, geez, am I out of practice, or what is this? But it's yeah, it's not normal. Once you get a letter started, you'd like to be able to just peel it out, comes out in one piece, and you toss it and go to the next. And yeah, like Christian said, it's breaking, so then you stop and you start over again, and yeah, it changes your productivity for sure.
Last week I got an email middle of the week saying 2 of the rolls of 3M stencil that I had on back order had been shipped, and I don't know if that actually is correct or not, or it was an error in the system. I haven't checked to find out, but I'm kind of hoping that it actually is shipped. If so, it's waiting in Barre, Vermont for me at my main shipper. So I'm hoping that means I'm going to get 2 rolls of the good 3M when that comes. So time will tell on that. I may put a call into my supplier today to check and see if it actually is over there waiting for me, or if not, because yeah, our understanding was 3M, they're just not making it anymore. It's just totally done. So I was not expecting those back orders to be filled, but maybe they're doing another run yet to fill back orders before they finish production. They're just not taking new orders. Not sure what the deal is on that, so we'll see. All right, so I want to show you a little bit about our sandblasting setup here again. I was having a chat with a subscriber. I told you I'd try and show you a little bit more of some of this kind of stuff. 2 pots here, and I'm going to let Dad show you kind of the something new he's been working with here on that nozzle.
You've heard of old dogs' new tricks? This old dog learned a new trick the other day watching a young lad on YouTube sandblast, and he had this piece of wood attached to his nozzle to stop some of the blowback. One of the things that we have on our curtain, okay, this is a manual curtain. It goes up and down, but we have to stick our hand through it, right? Well, we end up with a lot of sand out here on our floor that we're always cleaning up. So I just duct taped this piece on here, kind of like what he had. I got to do a little work on it yet, but I think between 60 and 80% of the sand that we got out here before I did not get out here. I'm very impressed with. I'm very impressed with that. So I put one on each of our nozzles, because this one here is, I use this one with brand new sand. This is how I'm doing my panels. And then the bigger pot is the reclaimed sand, and that's what I'm using to cut letters. I like it so far. I got to figure out how to attach it. Right now I just have it with duct taped on, which there's got to be a better way. Probably zip ties is what I'm going to use next. See how well they work.
So we're not totally sure on our hose sizes, but we believe we have 1 inch running in to the shop, and that of course runs in and then to our moisture separator up there. And then the smaller hose we think is 3/4, and the bigger we think is 1 inch. But we're not exactly sure. But we use the same, all comes down to the same size nozzle. Now over time, we talked about this, that hole obviously is going to get bigger, and that will affect how much sand and your airflow and all that kind of stuff. We kind of hit a sweet spot. We start at 3/16, and it kind of goes from there, gets a little bigger, and I'm not sure how big we actually let it get up to till we're not really happy with it anymore and take it off. But we've got the same type of nozzle. We use carbide nozzles. We used ceramic nozzles for absolutely long time. Forever we used those, and then we switched to these, and they're so much better. They just last and last. I used to have to change those other nozzles out sometimes, I don't know, maybe every 3 stones, something like that. And now, I mean, we pretty much once a year we have to change a nozzle, and that's about it. So it really costs you a little more up front, but it lasts so much longer, and it's worth the time it saves. So that's a little bit about some of the sandblaster stuff. I will try later when Dad's sandblasting, come back out so you can kind of hear the sandblaster going, hear the difference in the tone as you're sandblasting. One of the things you're listening for sand flow and control is the tone of what it sounds like when the sand is passing through that nozzle at the right rate. You can hear it, and then if you get too much, you kind of get this pulsing sound, and we'll see if I can replicate that. I don't know if Dad will be using the small blaster. It's much easier to manipulate those things and make it do. The big one is set a little more evenly, and so it's a little harder to mess with, to show you those different things. But I'll try and get back out here later when he's blasting and video some of that for you. All right, we'll head back into the office here, show you what I've been working on in here. Got a box here from Newegg. I get almost all my computer parts from them. And I just installed a new motherboard, a new hard drive, and memory into my computer here. Still the same tower I was using, but some new parts for that. So it... yeah, sped it up quite a lot, and I don't know if I've talked about, but I've been having issues with the computer just randomly shutting down. So I'm hoping that this will take care of that, and I won't have that trouble anymore. I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Gravestone Pros with North Country Memorials. Glad that you came along today. Hope that you learned something. Hope you found it educational and enjoyable. do all the YouTube stuff for me. You got to leave me a like. You got to leave a comment telling me what you thought of the video, even if it's negative. I've been getting some negative comments here and there, and that's part of it too. So hey, share your opinion. I'd love to hear it, and I'll try to take it lightly if it's a negative one. Anyways, thank you guys for coming along, and we will see you all next time.